We're back. Andrea Mitchell back with me now. Earlier this week, you had a chance to sit down exclusively with former President Jimmy Carter.
That's right, David. I spoke with him at the Carter Center in Atlanta about his new book, A Call to Action, Women, Religion, Violence, and Power. We also talked about the crisis in Ukraine, as well as his distant relationship with President Obama. Why did you choose this time to focus on women and the way women are victimized around the world?
For the last 3 years, we've been concentrating on the relationship between religion on the one hand and the abuse of women and girls on the other. The existing abuse of females is the worst and most pervasive and unaddressed human rights violation on earth. That is really derived, I would say, indirectly from the fact that religious leaders say that women are inferior in the eyes of God, which is a false interpretation of the Holy Scriptures. But when they see that the Pope and the Southern Baptist Convention and others say that women can't serve as priests and so forth equally with men, they say, well, I'll treat my wife the way I want to because she's inferior to me.
You and Rosalind Carter actually left your own congregation, or part of the Southern Baptist congregation, because of the way your church was treating women.
The convention decided in its annual meeting to require that women be subservient to their husbands, and that women could no longer serve as a pastor or priest or even as a deacon. Those kind of things really convinced me that I should change.
Another institution you were very much part of was the military, the Naval Academy. And why do you think it is that the Pentagon is so resistant to changing and reforming the way sexual assaults are handled in the military?
Exactly the same thing happens in universities in America as happens in the military. Because presidents of universities and colleges and commanding officers don't want to admit that under their leadership, sexual abuse is taking place. So rapists prevail because they know that they're not going to be reported.
I want to ask you about foreign policy, given all of your expertise. It was actually on Meet the Press in 1980 that you said we would not go to the Olympics because of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan.
It's very important for the world to realize how serious a threat the Soviets' invasion of Afghanistan is.
And now we have this situation with Ukraine. What advice would you give in dealing with Vladimir Putin?
I think there has to be a concerted international prohibition against Putin going any further than Crimea.
Does the president ask you for advice?
Unfortunately, the answer is no. President Obama doesn't, but previous presidents have called on me and the Carter Center to take action.
Why do you think you don't have that relationship with Barack Obama?
That's a hard question for me to answer, with complete candor. I think the problem was that that in dealing with the issue of peace between Israel and Egypt, the Carter Center has taken a very strong and public position of equal treatment between the Palestinians and the Israelis. And I think this was a sensitive area in which the president didn't want to be involved. When he first came out with his speech in Cairo calling for the end of all settlements, and when he later said that the 67 borders would prevail, he and I were looking at it from the same perspective. But I can understand those sensitivities, and I don't have any criticism of him.
There's been a lot of criticism of his policy regarding drones and the NSA surveillance. And the NSA, it has argued that this kind of intelligence gathering is critical to try to protect the American homeland.
That has been extremely liberalized and I think abused by our own intelligence agencies. As a matter of fact, I have felt that my own communications were probably monitored. And when I want to communicate with a foreign leader privately, I type or write the letter myself, put it in the post office and mail it.
Old-fashioned snail mail.
Yeah, because I believe if I send an email, it will be monitored.
I just wanted to ask finally, with all your energy, what keeps you going? What is the secret, the magic of Jimmy Carter?
Well, there's no magic involved. My wife and I have been lucky enough to be leaders of the Carter Center, promoting peace, enhancing democracy. It's unpredictable, it's adventurous, and I have to say it's gratifying and exciting for us still to do that.
Great interview, Andrea. Final note here in our remaining seconds. Our discussion on paying college athletes has already provoked some lively debate on Twitter. Susan Glandon tweeted to hashtag #MeetThePress or MTP, pay college players? Absolutely not. Let their pay fund other students' education. But Ryan Carrier disagrees, tweeting that college athletes should be paid. They bring in millions to all the universities, $913 million in 2013. Great subject, hashtag #MeetThePress. Quick views on this, Mayor?
I'd be against that, but I'm focused on taking care of the student athlete and their academics, graduation, other educational opportunities, and I do like the idea about using more of those dollars generated for financial aid.
All right, that's all the only response we have time for. Thank you all.
I got to say, go UVA.
Go UVA, exactly. You're right. Now we're right. Thank you very much to our roundtable. I'm going to be on vacation next week, my friend. NBC's political director Chuck Todd will be filling in for me while I am away, so stay tuned. That is all for us today. We'll be back.